guys, my name is Benjamin Burton, and today we're going to be talking about some of the pros and cons of teaching as an Auxiliar de Conversacion in Spain. I'm not speaking for the NALCAP or Auxiliares de Conversacion program in Spain in any way, shape, or form. These are my own personal opinions. And everyone's experience is going to be different because everyone's going to be in a different school, in a different city, in a different part of Spain, and all of these things are different factors that are going to affect your experience. So with that being said, I am currently teaching English in a little town called Dos Hermanas, which is kind of in like the suburbs of Sevilla, but I'm currently living in Sevilla, España, which is in Andalusia, which is in the south of Spain. I'll start off with the pros about teaching English. Starting off with the biggest pro, it's going to be that the hours are pretty great. You're not going to work more than 20 hours a week. I've heard some places even work like 12 hours a week, which is nothing. That's kind of a joke. That's like no work at all. As someone who's worked as a commercial fisherman, 12 hours a week is like you do more than that in one day shift. And during my senior year of college, I was working 27 hours a week and taking a full course load and writing my senior thesis. So it's really, I don't know, it's extremely easy. It really feels like I'm cheating. I really don't feel like I should be getting paid for how little work I actually do or how few hours I actually rack up. It's not a huge time commitment, so you have a lot of free time to be able to travel, explore, and pursue other hobbies. Like for me, filmmaking, I'm really dedicating a lot of time to filmmaking. Number two, the second biggest pro that I found has been the super relaxed work environment. Obviously, each school is going to be different and each person's boss is going to be different, but for me personally, everything has been super chill and super relaxed. Like the other day, my train that usually shows up at 8 o'clock didn't show up until 8:20. So I texted the first teacher that I was going to work with, and he didn't even see it, he didn't even read it. I showed up like about 20 minutes late to the first class I was supposed to be teaching with him, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm late, this is what happened. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it, I knew something came up, it's whatever, like, it's fine. And it was just like, what? Like in almost all my other jobs, I expected it to be a big deal because usually that would be a big deal to show up 20 minutes late, but it's an extremely relaxed work environment. Not saying that you should show up 20 minutes late to work every day and it's going to cause problems if you do that. But in general, it is a very relaxed workplace and very chill, which I really love. Just in like south of Spain in general, super relaxed environment. The people are super chill, siestas all the time. I love it, I'm a big fan. Okay, moving on to number three, the third pro, is that they give you a lot of freedom on activities, topics, and lessons within the classroom. At least within my experience, all of the teachers that I've worked with have given me a lot of freedom to be able to explore different ways to teach a certain lesson or a certain topic, or to get the students engaging with English and practicing speaking in English. Because for me, a lot of the problems that I personally had when I was a student revolved around just having to sit in a chair and be quiet, because no human being really enjoys that. I've been trying to change activities or like lesson plans, instead of just like having the students read from a book, make it some type of activity where the students get to stand up and change around and like do things, but they're still interacting and learning. And I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from the students and the teachers as well. They're very open to letting you try different things and experiment with things. For the art classes that I'm working with, for example, right now I'm planning an activity that's going to involve film. I'm going to try and have all of the students make like a TikTok and really, show that filmmaking is for everybody. So there's a lot of leeway and freedom that's been given to me in my lesson planning and the activities that I make the students do. So that's been really rewarding and a lot of fun. Moving on to number four, this job is extremely travel friendly. You get a lot of breaks throughout the year. You get a big winter break, you get like a week off in the fall, you get a week off in the spring, and then the biggest perk is the fact that you get 3-day weekends literally every weekend. Like it's super easy to travel, especially within Spain. If you want to just, at Friday after you're off work, you hop on a train, go visit some cool city in Spain, and then you come back on Monday. And it's really great. I know some people have Fridays off, but for me, I have Mondays off. So I'm done after school Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday I have off, and then I'm back to work on Tuesday. So having 3-day weekends every weekend is amazing. It really gives you a lot of time. Like I said, a lot of free time to be able to do other things like explore the country, explore other countries, explore the city, explore your hobbies, your passions, your creative goals and endeavors. Whatever it is you really want to do, you have a lot of free time to do it. Like I just took a weekend and went to ITHE, which is another city in the south of Spain, and learned how to surf. Like I still don't know how to surf, but it was fun. Pro number 5 is that the teachers are extremely helpful. They're all very nice, and they've all been really fun. It's been my experience personally with all the teachers that I work with. They've all been very helpful and like accommodating. If, like I say, oh, I'm kind of like struggling, I don't really understand what you want us to do or what you want me to do with this activity or this lesson. And then like, oh yeah, and they usually email you like at least a week in advance, so you have plenty of time to prepare for class. They're always very nice, especially like for one of my colleagues. He doesn't speak very good Spanish, but they're still very accommodated and very patient with people who don't, if your Spanish isn't the best or if their English isn't the best, all those. Yeah, so that's been awesome, a big pro for me. Just a great work environment with great colleagues. Pro number 6 is that you do not need to know Spanish to do this job, which is extremely helpful, or is going to be a really big one for a lot of people. Me personally, yo puedo hablar en español con fluidez y no tengo problemas en enseñar en español o hablar con los chicos en español o con mis colegas o también con mi jefa, y todas esas cosas están muy fácil para mí porque yo he estado estudiando el español y practicando por años y años, así que no es un problema para mí. But I know that a lot of people who come into the program don't have the level of Spanish that they want, or they're just starting Spanish, or they have very, very basic Spanish. And this job is definitely doable without Spanish. I actually have to lie to the kids. I don't have to, but the teachers and my boss told me that it would be a good idea just to tell the students that I don't know how to speak Spanish. So it's pretty funny. Whenever I'm in the classroom, I'll put on my fake accent. I'll be like, hola a todos, ¿cómo están hoy? Estoy emocionado para la clase. You know, like I'll just throw on like my garbage accent and try and make it pretty funny. I mean, the students have kind of picked up on the fact that I do know Spanish because I laugh at their jokes a lot, and and little things like that. I'll understand them. And for me personally, it has been very helpful because sometimes if the student's level of English is so low, they're not going to understand the general concept that you're trying to convey if you keep talking to them in English, no matter how much you say it. So for me personally, sometimes I do switch to Spanish just to explain certain things to the students to help them understand and help them learn. But in general, I don't speak to the students at all in Spanish. I speak almost exclusively in English when I'm in the classroom, but when I'm with my colleagues outside of the classroom, we usually speak in Spanish. But again, it's not necessary to speak Spanish to do this job, which I know will be a relief to a lot of people. It will definitely be very, very helpful, but not necessary. So if you can, you should be studying your Spanish before you get here. We're going to move on to pro number 7, which is my final one, and that is that the kids are amazing. Okay, working with the kids is so rewarding. They're so funny. It's always a fun time in class. I feel like a celebrity when I walk in. Half the time the kids are like, oh, Benjamin's here. We're gonna like do an activity or a game. It's gonna be in English, and they usually get very excited when you get there. I walk in, I get fist bumps left and right. It makes me feel like a celebrity. Yeah, I'm like, what's up, Benji. So that's always really fun. I mean, the kids can obviously be douchebags. I'm working with like the ages 12 and 13. So yeah, sometimes the kids are jerks. But for the most part, the kids are very excited about doing activities, especially when you try and make them fun, you know. But working with them has been so rewarding, watching them grow, and it's been noticeable. If you do your job correctly, you can notice not only an increase in students' ability to speak English, but the biggest thing for me was trying to get these students to increase their willingness to speak in English. Because I know for a lot of people, one of the biggest problems with learning a language is the fact that they're afraid to, or they're embarrassed of their level. So just trying to get the kids to be able to be comfortable speaking in English has been one of my big goals, and I've seen that noticeably improve with the students, and it makes me very happy. The other day I saw like these group presentations that the kids did, and I was so proud, honestly. I never felt anything like that before. I felt like a proud parent, I guess. I was just so happy to see them go up there and present, and they didn't say much, but it was and it wasn't perfect obviously, but it was so rewarding just to watch the kids go up there and speak in English. And even though I could tell a lot of them were nervous, they went up there and they did it, and they all did a really great job. And I've never had a feeling like that, and I really loved it. It's making me consider teaching as a career, but I don't know, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So with that being said, there are obviously a lot of really good things about this job that I really enjoy, but this job is not perfect. So with that being said, let's move on to some of the cons. So starting off with number one, which is the biggest con that I think most people are going to be talking about, and that is that the pay is really bad. It's not that much. You're not going to be making a fortune doing this job, and you shouldn't be here if that's what you're interested in. But in general, the pay varies between, depending on which autonomous region you are located in Spain. I personally am in Andalusia, which is in the south of Spain, and in Andalusia you get paid 700 euros a month. I know in other places where the cost of living is higher, like Valencia, I think you get 1,000 euros a month. Madrid, I think you also get 1,000 euros a month, and then like Galicia, I think you get 900 euros a month. But again, it depends on where you're at in the city, what kind of an apartment you get. All these different factors are going to affect like how much money you actually have. But in general, the base pay that you can be receiving each month depends on the region. And for me, I totally understand why the pay is so low. Most people who are doing this job don't have pretty much any experience teaching. There's very few hours that you're actually working. You work only 4 days a week. You don't do that much, so you shouldn't get paid that much. Obviously, I understand why, but it's still a very big con for me, and it's probably the reason that I won't be coming back next year. Moving on to con number two, and that is that the hours can be trash. All right, now I know I said the hours can be great, and they can be, right? So most days of the week, I'm either working 3 or 4 hours, right, where I'm in a classroom. I'm either doing 3 classes a day or 4 classes a day, sometimes only 2. But in general, most of the time I'll show up at like, let's say 8:30, I'll have an 8:30 class, I'll have a 9:30 to 10:30 class, and then I'll have like a 12 to 1 class, right? And then so I get in at 8:30 and I leave at 1, which is great. I'm not there very long, it's fine. And sometimes it works out like that. Other times I've shown up at noon and I leave at 2, so I just do 2 classes. Super great hours, but the hours can be terrible, right? So for example, you can show up at 8:30 and then you work 8:30 to 9:30, and then say you don't work again until 10:30 to 11:30, and then your last class is from 2 to 3, right? So you're there the entire school day, but the amount of time you're actually working is still only 3 hours. So you're really not doing that much, and you have a lot of space in between these classes. And when there are days like that, it kind of sucks, because like, there's so many more things I could be doing. I wish I could have just got this all done at once, you know? So the hours in general, they usually are pretty great, and most of the time it doesn't happen, but it does happen sometimes, which sucks. But again, not a very big con for me personally. All right, moving on to con number 3, and that is that you could potentially get placed somewhere that kind of sucks. All right, and a lot of this is actually going to depend on you, but a lot of it is also out of your control. So your region that you want is going to be largely dependent on how early you apply, right? So the sooner you apply to the NowCap program, the more likely that you are to get the region that you want, right? And then within like the city, like the size of the city and location of the city is also going to depend on the things that you select. So I talked to a couple of other Auxes, and they had selected, when they were asked about city size, they said any city size was fine for them. And then they got placed in this tiny city in the middle of nowhere, Spain, and they're like, well, this kind of sucks. This is not really where I wanted to be. I kind of wanted to be in a bigger city, but because they said they were fine with any city, they got placed in a smaller city. What I recommend is, if you want a big city, say you only want a big city. Don't say you're fine with any of them, because you're probably going to get put in a smaller city. So when I applied, I said that I would like to be in a large city. I think they have like ranges of population size for city. I said I wanted like the biggest city possible, and they put me in Sevilla, which is one of the most populous cities in Spain. So it worked out great for me. And I think most people, if you just be specific on that, clear, you're probably going to be fine, and if you apply early, you're also going to be fine. So this one is an avoidable con, but it is still a possible con, because at the end of the day, a lot of things are out of your control. You can't control which autonomous region you're placed in, and you can't control which city you're placed in. But you can improve your chances by applying earlier and being more specific in your application. And then number 4, which probably should have been like my biggest con, and it's not necessarily with the NowCap program. Actually, it has nothing to do with the NowCap program. It has everything to do with pandemic and the world sucking. So COVID is still a very real thing, as I'm sure many of you know. And when I came here, Omicron wasn't a thing, or maybe it was at the beginning, but Omicron has struck again. COVID has once again ruined a bunch of my plans to go travel to other countries and see all these different cool things in Europe that I had planned. I was supposed to spend the entirety of the Christmas break in Morocco, but I didn't get to do that because Morocco just completely shut down their borders. But if you're coming here for like a travel experience, obviously like you have all these 3-day weekends and you want to take advantage of them, and like I saved money up working as a commercial fisherman to be able to come here and travel and have fun and do these cool experiences, but COVID has ruined a lot of that. So COVID still is a thing, and it still is going to greatly affect your job. One of the big things I'm super lucky about or grateful for is the fact that the classes are still in person. So I absolutely despise online classes, and I would not want to do them at all. So I'm extremely grateful for the fact that the classes are still taking place in person. At least for me, I don't know, this might be different in other places, but that is still happening, so that's still a plus. It could be worse. I'm not complaining. People are dying, I understand. But the selfishness in me is like, oh, this COVID sucks, it ruined everything. So COVID still is a thing, and it's still going to affect your experience, as it's going to affect everything in your life. We're not through this pandemic yet. I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Those are my list of pros and cons of life as an Auxiliar de Conversacion. In general, I would say if you can, you should 100% do this program. It's an amazing, amazing experience. It's a great way to move to another country, and to have a way to like pay your rent and just meet people and have a cool experience. Especially if you're interested in teaching, this is an amazing way. Especially teaching abroad, it's an amazing way to get started. It's definitely inspired me. I think I'm gonna go teach abroad in other countries in the future. But for now, I am super grateful. I'm about halfway through my experience out here in Spain teaching, and it's been amazing. I would highly recommend it to anybody who can do it. I've really thoroughly enjoyed the program, and yeah, you should apply. But with that being said, please be sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you guys would like to see more videos about the NowCap program or my experience. I've been thinking of doing a day in the life video, so if you're interested in that, comment down below and let me know about that.